I just wanted to say, I might have boogers in my nose. What I really wanted to say was that I just wanted to apologize. I just wanted to apologize. I just want to apologize to Cody's mom, Brian's mom, my mom, and everybody else out here. We were supposed to do something more elaborate for this review, but instead, we forgot. So please. Okay. Get spit on the lens. If we don't make it out of here, I don't know.
Well, hello everybody,
Hello.
and welcome to the very second episode of HorrorFlix.
Second one.
This is episode 2.
2.
I hope you enjoyed our Scream review, because so did we.
Yeah, if not, why are you still watching this one?
Why?
I mean, is that
What
an
the fuck?
obligation?
No. What are we reviewing today, Cody?
Today we're reviewing the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, he's got a handy cam.
One of our I'm recording Brian right now. It's actually not good. One of our favorites.
Yeah.
Horror movies.
Oh my god.
It's quite good.
It might be my favorite. One of my favorite. It's up there.
It's
definitely
top 10
up there.
for me, I'd say.
I definitely think it's one of the scariest movies that's ever been made. Is that fair to say? I know it's subjective.
That's a bold statement because I think a lot a lot of people hate this movie.
Should we get into that right away, or should we start off basic?
We can do whatever you
let's
want to
lead
do.
into that. Let's
Okay,
eventually
we're gonna
get
eventually
into that.
coast into that.
All right, Cody, let's go all the way back to 1999.
All right, 99.
This movie was a pretty big phenomenon. A lot of people thought it was real.
I thought it was real.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, I was like 8 years old when
Yeah,
I saw
we were
it,
very
but
young
yeah.
when this movie came out.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing posters of it in the theater and hearing about it. Like my cousin Chase, you know,
Great guy.
I think
Wonderful human
it
being.
was probably him
Yeah.
who was like, yeah, this shit's real.
Yeah.
These are these real kids. They had missing flyers and everything. There was these websites, people looking for them
Yeah.
everywhere, and people were just flocking to the movies to see this real thing. And then when they saw it, I mean, obviously it was a big success as far as like box office, low budget.
Shit ton.
And then I think when everybody found out that it was an actual movie, the hype maybe
They're
died
like,
down.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like have any of the actors promote anything or anything, right?
Which is amazing.
It's
I
like,
love it. I really
crazy.
love it.
I remember having the DVD. Like I was being just a scared kid. I was just reading the back. It's like three kids went out into the woods. This is their footage, and I was like, oh god, it's so fucking scary. But I love this movie.
It's a very simple premise.
Yeah.
It's nothing too complicated, and it's probably one of the most grounded horror films of all time because nothing too crazy or over the top really happens. You hear the title.
Nothing happens really, yeah.
No, nothing really happens at all. I mean, you can see this movie as being completely boring, and I can kind of understand that.
Yeah.
One of the things I take away from that is that when I showed my brother this movie for the very first time, this was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. He was a lot younger. He's about 15 years old. I was showing it to him. No. I was very excited. Like, this is one of my favorite things of all time. And the entire time we're watching, he's like, "When's the witch gonna show up?"
Oh, you youngins.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it just really broke my heart. And then
You like just stop talking. To
I
your
just
You
like
ever talk to your brother?
I dropped him off in the middle of the road, and I said, "Go
You're
stand in
just
the
like,
corner
just
for an hour."
Go pitch a tent, man.
Yeah,
See how
yeah.
scary
Go
it is.
pitch a poo in a tent.
Like this movie is like it does what it wants to do perfectly in the sense that they're not trying to give you a witch to be, to see and be afraid.
Yes.
They're not trying to like get you with gore. It's literally like a psychological horror movie.
Exactly. Like
it just scares the living shit.
At its core, like you have the outside premise of these filmmakers finding out about this witch
Yeah.
or about the stories that happen, in Burkittsville, and they go out there and they just get completely lost. And you have that outside, you have that supernatural aspect of them being lost, and there's all these theories on how it actually ended or what was actually happening to them, but at its center core is about these three characters and the psychological trauma that they all go through, and that's what makes it a lot more scary. Like the supernatural, whether it was supernatural or one of the other characters was actually plotting all this the whole time and trying to kill them all, that's all fine and dandy. I'm cool with any of those theories. But the scariest thing about them is the real fear, like the performances in this movie make it feel so real and make you feel, even though they're in this gigantic forest, it makes you feel claustrophobic. Like you feel very isolated and very, very scared.
Yeah, and anxious too. Like the scene when they lose them, he's saying he kicked the map because of frustration. Yeah, and he's just breaking. It's like that's one of the creepiest things where they're literally losing their minds.
Losing their minds. Yeah,
it's just insane.
I know maybe some people might find some of the performances a little annoying. They're all acting very differently. They're all acting pretty stupid, but it makes sense because it's how they're dealing with their own separate emotions. Like he kicks the map out of anger, but then also he's laughing hysterically because he just can't deal with any of the shit that's going on with him. Because I think the performances are incredible. They're just like three random film students that got recruited into this movie. And
have they done anything since then?
I think a few things here and there.
Like a couple bit parts or something?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they just tore around with this movie all the time and just talked
about it. Like, hey guys, remember this 99? Good year?
Yeah. And I remember when the sequel was coming out, that was like the big, like, are they coming back? Or some of them, are they going to explain a bunch of the stuff? We don't need to talk about the sequel.
We can talk about the other sequel.
Oh my god, the Blair Witch 2.
Oh wait, were you talking about Book of Shadows or were you talking about...
I mean, we could talk about both of them.
I don't want to ever talk about Book of Shadows.
Oh, okay. I'd rather talk about that one than Blair Witch.
Oh, no. Why, man, I know a lot of people don't like the new one, but I thought it was a solid found footage movie that was a nice little, like, not enhancement, but, like, it took what the first one did and just, like, magnified it, and I thought it was really good.
That's why I didn't like it, though, because the beautiful thing about the Blair Witch Project, call me crazy, is that...
Psychotic person.
The subtlety. The non-loudness. Everything felt very real and grounded, and everything Blair Witch, to its credit, is more fantasy horror than Blair Witch Project is straight up like fucking with your head horror. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it a hell of a lot better. And yes, in Blair Witch they show shit. They've confirmed that it's not the witch, whatever. The fact that they showed something at all is...
That's what's pissing you off.
That kind of takes it away.
You want that like option where it might not be real.
And I don't want to hate on it either, because they tried. They were like really passionate about it, and but anyways.
Do you think they'll ever try again?
I don't know. How did it do box office wise?
Not good.
Could we fact Ghost?
Not good.
Okay.
And we're back.
But back to Blair Witch Project. We get rid of the other two. Okay. We have just this movie. It comes out. It's a big phenomenon. What do you like about this movie the most?
I would say now, like looking back at it, it's tough because it depends on like how old I am when I think about it. Like when I first saw it, I loved it because I thought it was fucking real. Then as time's gone on, I just love it because of how different it is than most horror films and even most found footage films. The more you think about it, because now a lot of found footage films are in your face, like monsters fucking chasing you and shit. And this one is just like
in your face. It's
literally just right in there.
Yeah.
And that's
you can see it.
I like how different it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very true. At the time when that movie came, you could.
No.
At the time, no, you don't have to put it on me. But just get the camera out of my face. At the time that this movie had come out, just zoom in there, buddy. Oh my god.
Right there we go. Whoa! Look at that focus.
I'm so scared.
That's a great scene, by the way.
It's a very great scene.
Like, we're talking about the actors, people criticizing them, but that's like the scene where she's just like crying to the camera and confessing and feeling terrible for these guys and their families. Like, it was really well done.
I think that was improv.
I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open them.
Because I think the cool thing about Make This Movie is when you realize what it really is and that it's not real. They just throw them into the woods. And they're doing all the scary shit, all the filmmakers. They got like a big speaker box and then making all these sound effects happen.
Oh, really? They had it right there?
So they would meet in the morning, talk about them, what they want to do, where they are at in the story. Because they only shot this movie for a couple of days, I think. Because it was raining and the weather was really hard for them. They even ended up taking back their original camera and selling it back. So, and I think in an interview recently, when Blair Witch was coming out, he said they were eventually trying to track that down, but I can't remember if they actually found it or not.
Really? That's a whole other movie.
That's it. I would like to see that.
Yeah,
The missing camera.
Oh my God! Trying to find the camera.
That'd be pretty cool. But
Final
aside
draft,
from
let's
that,
do this.
I like the way that they set everything up. I think it's a lot of fun, and the actors in the movie were able to project that sense of fear and vulnerability.
Yeah, I think I remember, like, I read online that the script was only like 30 pages or something like that. And then, yeah, I think you're right. The lines were all improv. Another creepy thing that we haven't brought up yet is all the weird side stories that when they're interviewing all the people.
Yes.
And you're hearing like all these weird stories about what happens in these woods, like the Rustin Parr, who
On
has
the
all the
Castle
kids
Rock,
out there. Yeah. Which comes back later when they get to the house and you see all the children handprints on there, which is ugh.
That's the setup that I like the most, because I know a lot of found footage movies take a long time to get going, but I always like that part of it because maybe not so much in found footage movies if they're talking to other people hearing it, but more specifically in this movie, it's almost scarier hearing about these stories because one, they're all different. They're not everyone is saying the exact same story, or at least they're telling different parts of it. And just hearing about it is creepy enough, and that's kind of how it sets up the whole movie, like the tone of the rest of the movie. You're hearing about all these stories, you're like, oh, cool, maybe we'll see some of that. No, and then even later on when they're in the tents and they're hearing the children outside,
that's
hearing
such
the
a good
crack
scene.
of the sticks, like everything is planned out so perfectly that if they showed something, then it would lose that sort of magic. I remember there's a great part in the Blair Witch Project either documentary or an interview that I saw, or maybe it was the commentary, where the scene where everything starts rattling and they run out into the woods. They said that when Heather says, "What the fuck is that?" and she's yelling,
Oh my God, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
they actually said in that they originally were going to show something, or at least they did shoot something where they did see something, and they said it just didn't work because it lost the illusion of whatever it is out there. And plus, when you add that element into there and you still don't see it, it's still, is there really a witch?
Yeah.
Are one of the two guys, Mike and
Josh.
Yeah, because she fucking screams his name so many damn times. Is it just them two plotting something against her, or she plotting something against them?
Yeah.
It's all this back and forth, and there's never a crystal clear answer. There's multiple alternate endings to this movie that I don't like.
Really?
Yeah, like there's one where Mike in the end is like floating.
Oh, which actually is a callback to one of the earlier stories when
Yes.
they said they saw an old woman floating.
Yes.
Yeah. But I can see why that one. That's not as good as him standing. in the
No,
corner
because
of the
that's a
wall.
callback as well.
Yeah,
It says
exactly.
you make the kids
Yeah,
stand
yeah.
in the corner, which makes you think, is it the witch? Is Rustin Parr alive?
Yeah.
Is someone being influenced to do all these things? That's the creepiest thing, because there's so many different ways it could have turned out to be, and it's never crystally answered. And so the fact that the camera just falls over to the side after hearing all those screams and it falls to an end, it leaves you with this like drop of emotion.
Like, what the-
oh fuck.
Jesus.
It makes
man.
you a little bit up. It could make you a little bit upset. Like fuck, I want to know. But then again, not knowing is a lot scarier than knowing or seeing everything.
It's a movie that makes you like think. I mean, it makes you think afterwards.
Yes.
If they make you do that, especially for a horror film, I think they've done their job very well.
And this movie did a lot for viral marketing, because there was a huge campaign for it. There was the website. You can go on there. You can hear and look at different tapes. They made a fake documentary for Sci-Fi Channel leading up for the film. It's kind of like a reaction to everything that had happened, and interviewing a lot more people. So I love all that, and we love with Cloverfield. Whether or not the series has done well, it's always had a fun marketing behind it, and anything bad robot related, I guess.
Yeah.
But that kind of started the craze.
A lot of people owe a lot to this movie, I think. Not just for marketing, but for the found footage genre coming back. I'd say for styles of horror, it really did a lot. It was a big movie.
My leg is dead.
Like the people in the movie.
Or are they?
Are they? You think he was just taking a leak? And he was just like
I
peeing in
remember.
that
Oh
corner?
wow, that's really dead.
Okay, walk it. Or you
I
can walk
can't.
it off yet. We
I
gotta
can't
stay
move
in
my
there.
leg.
Just, like,
I
try to-
cannot move it. So how do you think this movie will be seen by this generation?
It's tough to tell. Like, you're talking about the thing with your brother, and it's like, I don't know. People might not like it because it is totally different. It's not what we expect, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, I agree, because I think that it is such a subjective thing that maybe not everybody will be on board for it. I think that's why they approached the Blair Witch movie, the later sequel, that's why they approached it the way that they did.
Yeah.
And also, the time that this movie was coming out, internet was not what it is today.
Yeah, it'd be tough to pull off what they were able to do.
I mean, even with Blair Witch, the fact that they kept that a secret for a while,
which is amazing,
which was really great.
Yeah.
And everything about that, the announcement at Comic-Con of it being Blair Witch, it was amazing. I was very excited, very happy with it. But you go back to '98, maybe when they started promoting, or even if they just started promoting in '99, then you can't really. There was the internet back then, but you couldn't. It wasn't as easy for most people to just look up information.
Yeah, it would take forever. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like people
dialing up.
Could you imagine trying to do that today? Like, it's not worth it.
No.
That might be how you fix like plot spoilers and all these set photos. Just go back to dial-up.
Yeah,
you know,
I wouldn't mind that,
Yeah.
because then you wouldn't get people spoiling shit in articles that are just dumb.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but if this movie came out today, would it have been as successful? Or let's say that
tough.
the Blair Witch Project didn't come out. One, would we have gotten a slew of found footage movies kind of in honor of that? I know that
I don't think so.
Paranormal Activity was the one that kind of restarted it all,
Yeah,
right?
brought it back again.
Okay.
But I don't think you have Paranormal Activity unless
Without
you have
Blair Witch. It's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it did come out today,
Mm-hmm.
would people kind of, go towards it a little bit? Would they enjoy it as much? Or having seen so much before, would people be tainted by it already?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how they would market it in today's day and age. Like, 'cause you can't do it the exact same way. But if you did something like that with a website, like you were bringing up, or like video or something like that, to try to market it and still try to keep the actors, hidden. I wonder if they can still pull off the phenomenon that 1999 had.
Right. That's very true.
Yeah.
I don't know. But regardless, we have this movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love just popping it in. Like, I know it's for me, it's an easy watch. Like,
It is
I
too.
can watch it whenever. It could be very boring for a lot of people, but it easily gets me in a very eerie mood, and I like that.
Yeah, a
I
lot of
like
people
that
say
a lot.
like nothing happens till the very end, and then nothing really happens. That's
When you-
what everyone's mad about. But when you go back and rewatch
Yes.
it, there is a lot of really creepy shit that happens.
It really is,
Yeah.
and I think the way that it's shot, how your favorite aspect ratio, it's not full screen. Half of it's in black and white. You got
Yeah.
one camera in black and white. The other one just not. It's like their best camera that they have. It's still that's what makes it creepy, because even when they're shooting and walking around, everything's really, really hard to see.
Yeah,
and that makes
it's
it
really
worse.
grainy.
Yeah,
It's just like
even I don't mean to bring it up again, but when we watched Blair Witch, they're shooting on this really slick DSLR. It looks really nice. It's clearly a high-budgeted movie-making camera. But then they switch over to a DV camera at some points, which is really nice and fun, a nice little throwback. But it makes it a lot harder because nothing's as clear, and it makes it a lot scarier to do so. And it's brilliant. I don't want to see any more. I don't want to see them develop any lore or anything.
Yeah.
I don't want them explaining anything that happened from the first movie. Just leave it as it is. If they come up with ideas for found footage movies, be something completely original. Because I still love found footage.
Yeah,
I really
that's one
do.
of my favorite genres.
I think we're two of the only people that are always rooting for these things to freaking work.
Yeah.
And when they suck, it's a little depressing.
Yeah.
But when
Because
they're amazing,
they can be awesome.
They
Yeah.
are some of the greatest movies ever.
Yeah,
They
it's
really
true.
are.
It's very true.
And this movie utilized found footage not as a gimmick. They use it. It's an actual part of the plot. It's part of the story, and it works from beginning to end.
Well said.
Thanks, man.
Well said. I like this movie so much more that we're talking about it.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is great.
I really do
Man.
want to watch it again. It's amazing, and I hope everybody watching this has seen it, because we gave away a lot.
We spoiled like 2 movies.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's very true. So, thank you for watching this episode of HorrorFlix featuring the Blair Witch Project. Please let us know in the comments whether this is on Patreon or if you want to comment on the YouTube channel itself. What you thought of this movie. We want to hear from you. Tweet at us, hashtag at HorrorFlix. Do all those things. Follow us on Patreon. Subscribe to Amateur Horror Films. Watch The Wanger Show.
Hey guys.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
What are you doing here?
Oh, good. Thank God it stopped raining.
Oh, gosh.
Doing the shaking effect.
Oh,
It's really effective. They have no idea what's happening.
you believe in witchcraft?
No.
No?
No, sir.
Are you a religious man?
Yep.
Alrighty.